Hey guys, welcome back to PlayerUnknown'S Battleground. This video is going to be a little bit different from the previous videos that I've posted of PlayerUnknown'S Battleground. This is going to be a post-commentary because this is just kind of a random round that I was playing on my own free time. The Elgato allows me to record pretty much constantly and like take that footage back. It's a flashback feature if anyone's ever used it. And so I used that because this round goes pretty well for us, and I want you guys to actually be able to see what ends up happening in it. So for this particular session, I was actually trying to just play squad games. And it was mostly because I had had a few games where people were talking, I was having a good experience. So I'm like, I'll play more squad games. It's fun to play squad rounds. Unfortunately, I didn't realize I had gone into a solo game, and so I kind of came in going, okay, either I accidentally clicked on solo, and everybody's a solo player, or I'm in squad completely on my own. As a small note, I think this was on one of the days a patch came out, and it introduced a whole lot of lag and glitches that generally went away a few days later, but you might see some funky things in this video. There are going to be a couple of jump cuts, as you can see, because this was about a 30-minute round, and a good 10 to 15 minutes of the round, nothing happens, right? That's kind of the PUBG experience if you're slowly creeping around like I enjoy doing. Anyways, so because I figured that I was either on my own or in a squad game, I landed in Georgopol. If you watch part 12 of this playlist, we actually came here and I was like, oh, this place seems really nice. I'm going to check it out at some point. And I actually got an SKS the last time I was here. Unfortunately, the SKS isn't here this time. Instead, I get an S12K, which is somewhat close. It is an S weapon in terms of name, but it's no sniper rifle, obviously. But since I start seeing people die without actually like having any like knockdowns, I just figure, oh, I'm in solo. We're committed to this, we're gonna see what ends up happening, and I begin just kind of driving my way around. Now I do see a guy up on this rooftop and immediately just start to bail away, and I honk a whole lot in this game. I actually got a large chunk of me honking around because I think this was the patch that introduced honking in cars, and I just kind of honked at everybody that I saw, or at least around areas I thought there would be people. But I figured out this guy's AFK and decided to kill him, which is kind of a dick move, but if you're gonna go AFK in PUBG, you probably should hide first, right? Maybe like prone, or go into the bathroom and close the door. You can't lock the door in this, but oh well, right? I do get a little bit of karma. I ran straight into a rock and have to use my energy drink to get the health back. Well, that is generally okay. I got my health full. I like to keep it kind of topped off. Even if that could have potentially been a game-ending mistake, right? If I never found any other painkillers, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm from the future. I'm from the far future, actually. This footage was when I had put like about 10 to 12 hours into the game, and I am doing this post-commentary now that I have about 70 hours into the game. So I am a much more experienced GaLm, a veteran GaLm of PUBG, who still sucks at it, but a lot less than 60 hours of experience ago. Anyways, we hear the motorcycle come around, and I get immediately worried about what's about to happen. I know that I'm going to get into an encounter with this guy, and I just kind of keep an eye out to see if he tries to move along the fence. And because I didn't see any actual movement, I decide to make a move myself, because he's either going to be camping behind the wall or he went into the house. And I go over here, I don't see anybody back here. I'm like, alright, cool. He went to the house, and there's a chance he doesn't even know I'm here. Eventually, as I pass by, hear there's footsteps inside this house in particular, so I just can't. I go, maybe he'll run out the back towards his motorcycle, and I just kind of sit here for a bit. Alright, well, I got the kill. I got the kill, even though I missed 4 out of 5 shots. But that's good. There's my first legitimate kill, and I go through and loot most of his stuff, and don't worry, I do grab his level 2 vest. Although this is far enough back that I didn't know that having the durability slightly reduced on something isn't actually that much of like a death sentence. But still, I'm like, I want a level 2 vest. And so I grab it. So after looting this guy, I kind of play a little bit cautiously. I'm looking around corners and stuff. I made noise while shooting at the guy, and I'm always paranoid about it. Now I do see that the map, or I see on the map that the zone is pretty far away and decided to drive off. But I run into a fence that I don't actually know if you can destroy. You can destroy the normal parts of it, the chain link fence. But those metal ones, still not entirely sure about. The good news is, at least I did get some gas in my car, so if I have to drive all the way across the map, it'll work out. And surprisingly, there was a person just sitting in this car, and I honked at them in communication as an acknowledgement of my fellow car brethren. And I think he gets out of the car and was probably aiming at me. Well, he doesn't fire any shots, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but that is pretty funny. I've been told that sometimes people hide away in cars, and either that guy was doing that, or we just kind of ran into it coincidentally. Also, this is kind of funny. Just watching him chase the motorcycle away from me. So, the zone is pretty much directly around me in terms of its very, very edge. I decided to kind of take up residence here. Unfortunately, I don't really find any great loot here, although I do think I get a compensator. Yep, get a compensator for my AKM. Still don't know exactly how effective it is, but any little bit of help is good, as this car drives straight on by. And I just kind of keep a suspicious eye on it, because, well, of course, it turns around. And I don't know if this guy saw me, but he makes a grave mistake. He just outright dies. And I don't realize it at first. I thought he was, he got out and proned. So I flash, kind of go over there. I'm not seeing any movement at all, not even around the car, and I kind of figure out, oh, he died. He got out of the car while it was going too fast. So let's see what he ends up having on him. And of course, he actually ends up having some pretty good loot. He had a 4x scope and a Scar L, which I gladly take all of which, even though I don't really have anything super amazing. Actually, he also had an 8x scope too, so that's even better, as I whiff in automatic fire constantly. I don't think I've ever killed a person with automatic fire in this game at long range. Plenty in close range, but at long range, I just whiff every single shot afterwards. We're in a pretty good position. We have 35 bandages, holy crap. And then we see this guy. So I don't realize it, but this guy with the ghillie suit, which I did see, was getting shot at by another person. And I thought he was just kind of shooting in a panic at me, but he was actually trying to defend himself from another player, which I didn't realize, because I'm just sitting there cheeky like, oh, I made him panic and shoot at nothing. And I drive straight off to him because I want that ghillie suit. Now this guy was actually pretty loaded up. The ghillie suit and a Groza. I had never really used the Groza. I still haven't. So that would have been a good thing to grab, but I don't think I noticed it. I just kind of grabbed his medical supplies, the ghillie suit, and I decided that was that. And I began making my way up this hill without knowing that there was a person up here. So this guy starts blasting away at me. I think I did actually spot him. He was on the second floor of the house on top of this hill, on that open balcony roof area. And I decide, you know, maybe I'll rush at him. I kind of look over there, eyeballing the place, pull out a Molotovs, because I'm just going to toss it and then run in. But I realize the zone's about to close, and that it would be a possibly bad idea. I still really didn't have a lot of confidence in trying to fight and rush at people. So I just decided to run away. I decide I'm going to live to fight somewhere else. I've got a ghillie suit. The guy with the ghillie suit has my car next to his dead body, so I just drive away without dealing with this guy at all. A couple of taunting honks to let him know I'm just leaving. I'm not gonna go over towards him. And I think he fired some shots off at me. I'm not sure. I do hear him shoot in the background. Yep, he's definitely firing shots at us. But of course, with me driving around and me having a decent amount of distance between me and that house, I wasn't worried about him. Of course, I get shot at by somebody else and begin to panic as I don't know exactly where the gunfire is coming from. So I make the smart decision, just grab the car and fucking go. Now it's about here that I realize that he's shooting at me from the hill that I'm driving towards, but my hope here is that I can use these houses as a little bit of cover. Unfortunately, the zone kind of sweeps in, and I decide to just leave it. And I think it's about this time that if I had not used gas on my car, I would have just ran out in the middle of the field. So because I have such an abundance of resources, I kind of just keep chugging boosts throughout this round, so I can have speed and health regen if possible. I do hear gunfire off to the northwest and north. I figure, let the enemies kill each other. I need to make it to cover. As I kind of scope out the windows to make sure I'm not about to get shot at. Not that it matters. But I do see an enemy player, and just as I'm about to fire at him, he actually begins to run away. I don't think I hit him because he was getting shot at from another player. Of course, I also started to get shot at by another player. So I use my first aid kit here, and I can see him just kind of running across the field. And I've got bloodlust in my heart. I want to kill this guy for shooting at us. Unfortunately, he perfectly puts a bush between me and him, and the zone's closing in, so once again, I decide to just move it along. I had a lot of that this round, but I think that's just PUBG. Sometimes being a pacifist will allow that person to be killed by somebody else. Of course, I do hear gunshots from the house close to us, and I can tell already that it's a guy with a suppressor, so I'm kind of cautious. I figure he's probably decked out and can destroy me if he gets the jump on me. Now, I do see that there's a UAZ back there. And I'm like, I should probably go over and take that so I can get to the zone. So I begin making my way over there. Still a little bit cautious, trying to keep the rock and the trees between me and the house. And then I see him on the roof and freak out a little bit. And then calm down as I realize, oh, he didn't see me. So we shoot down the crazy assassin-looking guy with no pants. And I get a lot of great rewards for it. Some of which I actually did end up picking up because I'm incredibly inexperienced. But I do take his suppressor because, of course, I'm going to take the suppressor. So I kind of fumble through this a little bit because the inventory is, let's be honest, a little on the clunkier side. And I I have the zone to worry about, so I'm just moving back and forth and hoping for the best. I could have grabbed the extended quick draw mag there, but it didn't fully matter. So about here, I decided to kind of try staying at the hill a little bit more. I figured that people are probably going to already be at the compound, the houses to my left. And then we see this car go by, which I don't shoot at because at 10 hours into the game, I wasn't really confident in firing away at a moving vehicle. I wanted to be not really pacifistic in nature, but I didn't want to shoot at people and then get killed because I made too much noise. Which is, I think, a smart enough idea. But of course, we don't luck out. The zone does not stay on the hill that I'm at. So I end up having to move along. Now I did hear gunfire from the east towards the coastline, so I go along the edge of here and try to get sight on anybody. And I think there's a dead body by the edge of the zone, but I never noticed it and never actually ended up looking at it. I also don't end up seeing anybody from my position, so I end up figuring that they're probably in the rocks or they're a little bit further in the zone, and I decide to just make my way to the other side of the zone myself, while keeping an eye on the houses and a little bit in that coastline. So I make it over to the zone. There's only 4 people left alive, including myself. I have no idea where anybody might be, so I just start boosting up as much as possible. And then, I catch a glimpse of a guy inside this house. And promptly miss anything and everything that I could have done to him. So he gets into a gunfight with another person. I take that opportunity to push into the next zone. Keep an eye out around me. And then I hear more gunfire, which tells me that one of the other players, Captain Q, is still on the coast side of the zone. So at this point we have 1 person in a house, 1 person on the coastline, and I decided to just camp in the grass with my ghillie suit. So this is probably a pretty bad position to be in terms of the grass amount, because you can see there's not really that much, and I'm just sticking out like a sore thumb. But I'm chilling out here around the corner, keeping an ear out for anybody that might be running behind me, and even a little bit of an eye out. But once the zone closes in, I figure that he probably already moved up, and I decide to move back around the corner for a little bit of safety. So I keep chugging my energy drinks because you want your character to basically die of a heart attack after they've won a round, pretty much. And I keep an eye out to the left. I already figured that there's absolutely no one remaining to the right from the direction that we came in, just from the sound of all the gunfire that's been over in front of us. Decide to maybe swap my scopes around since things are getting in close range, and boom! Suddenly, one of the other guys runs across the zone, and it all comes down to me winning. Now that was my first solo win ever in PUBG. It just worked out really, really well. And I think I would have died if I hadn't been in that ghillie suit, because that guy turned around, looked in my direction while I was in my inventory, and did not see me, and promptly kept on running, and got lit up by me and the other guy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is my first time really doing any kind of like post-commentary for PUBG, and I did cut out a good chunk of like just the in-between moments. I didn't know if anyone wanted to watch just like the entire 30 minutes, 10 minutes of me just kind of like camping in places or driving the car. There was like a solid minute where I was just holding down the horn, driving by school and apartments. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this. There are definitely a few other times that I've gotten into solo games and had some good times, and I will post those in the future as well. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later in some more PUBG.